The new Baki anime season is scheduled for fall of this year, so expect it to be released sometime between October and December, but we'll probably get an official date soon. But today I'm covering all the fights we can expect in this season. So in short, this anime season will begin adapting the manga that goes by the name Baki Son of Ogre, the third manga series in the Baki franchise. So that begs the question, how many episodes will we get? Based on pacing from previous seasons, which pretty much adapted most things from the manga, and then releasing around 12 or 13 episodes, it's safe to say we'll get the same again. And this is also backed up by the opening and trailer, which only showed the first two arcs of the Son of Ogre manga. So it's safe to say 12 or 13 episodes covering the first two arcs, and maybe one episode introducing the third arc, which I'll get into later. But take note, that's just my personal estimation. We don't 100% know how many episodes there will be. We'll most likely get that revealed alongside the official release date, which I'm guessing will come sometime in September or maybe October if the anime is scheduled for December late of the fall season. But yeah, before getting into the fights we can expect, make sure to subscribe if you're into Baki content. I post semi-regular Baki videos on this channel alongside other fighting manga, so if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. Check out the Discord if you want to talk more about any series I cover. Check out the Patreon if you want to support the channel, and follow the Twitter for extra juicy shit. But yeah, let's begin. So the first 3 episodes or first arc of the Baki Son of Ogre manga goes by the name Combat Shadow Fighting Saga, where it's pretty much a Baki training arc. The first fight we can expect from that is actually a Yujiro fight against this super elephant. We got to see a little bit of that in the trailer, so I'm guessing the introduction of the new anime season will actually show Yujiro fighting an elephant. It won't be that long, it'll be like a few minutes, maybe just a minute on screen, but it's pretty cool to see Yujiro fight a super elephant, and yeah, it's pretty impressive feat-wise for the broader Baki, universe when scaling characters. But yeah, that's what it's going to begin with. Then after that, we're gonna have Baki with imagination training, for example against Iron Michael, who of course is the representation of Mike Tyson in the Buckyverse. Even though the main purpose of this is training rather than like a direct fight, it is actually played out as a fight, as Bucky's imagination ability is quite overpowered. We also have this mini fight with this young kid we see in the opening and trailer, but it's not really a fight, doesn't have too much relevance. This is the first time and only time we see him in the Bucky world, so yeah, we just get to see something interesting between those two. And then the main fight of the first mini arc or training arc is Baki versus the Praying Mantis, or Imagination Praying Mantis, Real Praying Mantis, whatever you want to call it. Baki versus Super Big Praying Mantis. This is gonna be longer than what a lot of people expect, and I wouldn't be surprised if it takes up a full episode. But my personal opinion, I do hope the Yujiro vs Elephant, Baki vs Iron Michael, and Baki vs Praying Mantis only takes up the first episode, or will feel a little bit drawn out. And to be honest, rereading this for today's video in the manga, even Baki vs the Praying Mantis did feel somewhat drawn out, but it does have some comedic moments, and it does, express the absurdity of Baki even more so if you hadn't already been aware of all that. Then we have the first major arc of this anime season, which will most likely take up the remainder of the 12 or 13 episodes, unless one episode will be dedicated to setting up the next arc, which I personally hope it is. But this arc goes from chapter 15 to 78, so a lot longer than the previous one, and it's kind of equivalent in length to the Rotai tournament from last season, or could potentially be a little bit longer. But the first fight we can expect to see in that arc, where there is a few fights, but it is kind of focused on a lot of stuff outside of the fights themselves, but a lot of good moments to expect this season. But the first fight is Che Guevara versus a random prisoner, seeing what Che Guevara is truly capable of, or how he is considered a powerhouse as well, with a lot of hype going into him in the early portions. Then from there we also have Baki versus prison guards. This Baki shitting on some trash prison guards. We have the triplets, I'm going to call them, versus Iron Michael, so Iron Michael making another appearance. This is also hyping up the triplets as, like, I'm guessing the strongest prison guards. They're pretty cool, but I don't really care too much about them. After that we have Che Guevara versus triplets, again hyping up Che Guevara, showing his almighty power and getting a pretty interesting fight between them and the triplets, and triplets showing what they're truly capable of. And upon rereading this arc, I can safely say that both Che Guevara and the triplets are pretty underrated in the broader perspective of the Baki world. Then we have, I'm guessing, the first super major fight of the season, which is Che Guevara vs Oliva. This is a very unique and somewhat interesting fight. It does start out kinda wacky, but definitely the later portion is very hype, and of course the end with the almighty slam, which is all I'm going to be saying. We do see Udra a few times, but it may not be how you really expected. And as a whole, throughout this arc, we do get a few minor confrontations, but I didn't mention any of those in today's video. They don't have really any relevance. I'm kind of focusing on the main, per se, fight of this new season. Then from there, we have set up for Baki vs Oliva, which also has Baki vs some of the other prison guards. Kinda fun to watch, but of course it's one-sided to Baki, but it does have a few cool moments to expect. And then of course the major fight to expect in this first season of the Baki Son of Ogre adaptation is Baki vs Oliva, by far the longest fight of this season or of this arc, and is one of the best fights in all of Baki. So expect absolute greatness regarding that. A lot of back and forth, destruction everywhere, and seeing what current Baki is truly capable of, as we haven't really seen that in a long while, because all the fights in the previous arcs, such as against Ali Jr. and the Chinese fighters, was pretty much Baki low diffing people. And even before that, against the prisoners, we also had Baki destroying the prisoners that he faced while also being on the brink of death due to poison. So it's been a fat minute since we've seen peak Baki and to see what current Baki's strength is sitting at, so that's what we get to see in his fight against Oliva. And based on pacing, trailers and everything we got, this will most likely be the climax of the first season of the Baki Son of Ogre adaptation, but I'll talk about the next arc, but I won't go into specific fights that will occur. But the next arc after this is the Pickle arc, which is over 100 chapters, so maybe we'll get one episode to introduce the Pickle arc or Pickle, which could be pretty cool, or maybe a few moments at the end of the final episode to introduce Pickle, which I personally hope for, to see if we will get or we won't get CGI Pickle. But yeah, that's the next arc, and I wouldn't be surprised if a whole season actually covers the Pickle arc, but I hope they kinda condense it down a little bit and make the pacing better, because the pacing in the manga for the Pickle arc wasn't the best. And maybe the season airing after the one coming this year could also feature the Retsu boxing arc alongside the Pickle. And then the final arc of the Son of Ogre manga is the Baki vs Udro huge arc, which is very long and is the climax of the thing, and I'm guessing that'll be the third season of the Baki Son of Ogre adaptation. But yeah, that should be everything for today's video. As always, shout out to the people who support the channel via the Patreon. Subscribe if you haven't already, and yep, that's it guys, peace.